Pawel, thank you for joining us. Let's start traditionally. Please say a few words about you and the VC you are representing so that everyone understands from what position we are talking.
Right, so my name is Pawel Bochniarz and I represent Radix Ventures. We are a Warsaw-based venture capital firm that invests across Europe in deep tech startups, including in dual use and defense tech.
Okay, so you were part of this event organized by InnovX. So how would you rate the knowledge about what means dual-use technology in the region, and how much do you see this taking off? Are we in early stage, let's say medium stage? How would you position what's happening here in the region?
Okay, well, it was an excellent event. I have to say that it was so impressive to see representatives of all the key stakeholders in the room. So you had the universities who do research on dual use. You had representatives of government and high-level representatives, which shows a commitment from the public sector. You had the financial sector pretty well represented, some startups. So really, I think it bodes well for development of your ecosystem, because you do need to have these people in the same room, and you need them to speak to each other and to understand better, because they work on different agendas. And as I mentioned in the panel, sometimes they operate in different rhythm, right? So whereas VCs and startups run very quickly, in academia and government and the corporate world, time, the clock doesn't tick so fast. So, but they do have to adjust to each other and learn to work with one another.
Do you see some, let's say, encouraging signs that things are starting to take off? Because when we talk, let's say, to Romanian startups which are trying this space of defense tech, they echoed very much what you said, that there is a black hole at some point and time stops when they are discussing with the government, with the army. Everyone is nice, but then years pass by and things are not really moving. So what's your perspective on this, and what could be done in order to... This event is great because it raises the awareness, but what's your perception and what do you see? How do you see things?
Right. Well, I think we need to build up pressure in Romania, in Poland, in other countries which are not at war, right? But we need to build that sort of sense of urgency that we can't adopt the same processes and approaches from other industries and expect them to produce the results that we want. Because what we are witnessing on the battlefield in Ukraine is that technology is changing and evolving so rapidly that if we apply the old principles, the old processes, we have no way of succeeding. So governments, universities, corporations need to carve out good spaces for dual use and defense tech startups to actually bring their technologies to the end user, test these technologies in conditions that resemble as much as possible the actual war zone, iterate, fail, improve, and this requires, let's say, a joint approach and a joint effort. So it's not easy, and Romania is not the only country that is struggling with it, but I think there are regulations being put in place in Romania, in Poland, in the Baltic countries, and the Nordic countries, which are starting the change, right? We just have to keep and increase the momentum of change to be ready for whatever's coming.
Are you interested in investing in defense tech startups? And if so, what kind of, I don't know, if there is something that needs to tick in order for you to continue discussions and invest, what kind of projects are you looking at?
Right, so we are absolutely interested in mil-tech or defense tech startups. We have looked at some in Romania as well. We've analyzed dozens of startups in Ukraine. And we actually made one investment so far, 1 out of 6 in our portfolio is 100% dual-use technology with the military-first approach, because the dual use means that you have the dual track for commercialization, right? For go-to-market, you have the civilian track and you have the military track. What happens in Western Europe or generally the Western world is typically dual-use startups choose the civilian route first because it's faster. Military have very long procurement cycles and complicated procedures. So it's easier to deploy the technology in the civilian market first. In Ukraine, it's the other way around because there is the urgent demand coming from the front lines, coming from the soldiers. We need this new technology to neutralize aerial threats, right? We need a new solution for effective, efficient demining. We need a new unmanned ground vehicle to evacuate wounded soldiers, right? So this is an urgent need. There's no time to waste. The money is there. The procurement is decentralized. So Ukrainian startups in dual use choose typically the military route first and don't even think that much about civilian applications. So what it means for a VC fund like ours is that if we work with Western European startups, or if we work with Polish or Romanian startups, we need a different approach to when we speak with Ukrainian startups. Actually, I find benefits in both approaches. So we probably will make more investments in this area, and we are very much open to speak with Romanian startups, founders operating in the field.
And as a final question, which would be the key messages you'd like to convey, I don't know, to the whole community, which is army, public sector, universities, startups? What would you say about these dual-use technologies?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the number one message is let's not be complacent. We really can't predict the future. In some ways, you can say that we are already at war. If you speak with anybody working in cybersecurity, he or she will tell you that we're already under war, right? We are under attack, and we have to be able to defend ourselves effectively today. Otherwise, our infrastructure may go down, our hospitals may stop working, or electric grids, or so forth. So really, there is no time to waste. And I guess what it means is that we have to look at all the possible ways of simplifying procedures around development of new technologies for defense tech. I think the second learning would be, the second piece of advice would be, we have to learn from Ukraine as much as possible. And this doesn't just mean training, let's say, military personnel according to what's happening on the battlefield in Ukraine, but that also means let's see how efficient is their supply chain management, how is their procurement working, how is actually R&D happening, because many military units in Ukraine already have their small R&D shops, so they are able to better work with research or startups to co-develop the technology. So let's look at those examples. Let's learn from them, because if you don't want a war, you have to be well prepared for one, right?